All right, guys. So we are live. We are live. This is Innocent Nduagoba, the Money Man, and this is my dear friend from South Africa. He's also a Binance angel. I prefer to call him Salili. So, Salili, it's an honor to have you here with us. Thank you for showing up. Thank you so much. All right, so today he will be taking us on the introduction to cryptocurrency. We might even do this a weekly live show. What do you think, Salili? We come and we have although I know you can be very busy. I know we had to shift the time from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and all of that. I know you can be very busy, but maybe we'll find time, to do this for both Nigerians and South Africans, and then for every other for every other individual who would love to participate. So I've seen one of my students here. Welcome, welcome, Chinedu. Nice to have you here. So Salili, so yeah, what? He's like I said, he's a Binance angel. What else do I say? He's an amazing. He's been a good friend to me. We've talked about so much happening in the crypto space. And let me just read you guys a little biography of his. So give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec. So Lily is a live sound engineer, an entrepreneur, a business owner who is recognized in the crypto space as an expert, right? So he began his crypto journey in the early years of Bitcoin and can easily be described as an early adopter, right? So he has produced numerous crypto training videos and has been featured on global crypto articles and interviews. So, like I said earlier, he's a Binance angel for Africa and has received celebrity status with the Binance crypto community. I tell you, Lily is very active. I mean, one of Binance South Africa's community, and anyone wants to ask a question, they direct it to Lily. So he's very good, I must tell you guys. So he's the author of Block Alpha Training Program, the Crypto Guide, and is a content manager for the platform as well as the community manager for other online communities. So you can see we have one of the best in the building. So Salili, um, I'll just sit here and then drink from your well of wisdom. So someone is saying nice to meet you, Salili. Um,
Hello,
so
Ace.
so please screenshot this and share it everywhere possible. So Salili, you have the floor.
Firstly, thank you for having me here. Look, I don't think of myself as popular or anything. I just really, fortunately for me, I did start in crypto about, I'm gonna say about 2014.
Wow. That's 5 years after Bitcoin.
Yeah, and what's even more sadder is that I did actually read the white paper in the early days of Bitcoin, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about. I thought they were making magic internet money, which it has become. It's become magic internet money. So I don't know how it was in Nigeria, but in South Africa, it was very hard to buy Bitcoin up until 2014 when what is now Luno started then as BitX. And even
Yeah.
then, very few people in my circle even spoke about it. So it was this secret money that everybody didn't want to
Yeah,
mention out aloud. And
yeah,
now
yeah,
no one
yeah.
can stop talking about it.
And
Hmm.
even up to now, it's still kind of a secret money. People still see it that way. People still see it that way. People still see that it's still kind of a secret money. Like, okay, let me give you an instance. So I was with
Yeah.
some friends the other day. This friend of mine, we were classmates, and then we were with another of his friend whom he was teaching driving. So he invited me to come along with them. And so he was asking me because they knew me to be, very good at my books, graduated with a first class GPA in physics. So they were expecting this, everyone was expecting this guy to be working in a big firm, or probably be lecturing, and all of those. But the guy, seeing that I don't have anything doing, he asked me, so Innocent, what do you do now? And I say, well, I teach people and I invest. I teach people how to invest in cryptocurrency, and I also do the same. He was like, "Is that thing even real?" And I'm like, "Whoa, say, whoa." What do I say to? And this is someone who is. So I'm currently 24. I'll be 25 very soon in January 2nd. This is someone who is almost 40. I'm telling you. And he was like, "Is that thing even real?" And I'm like, "Whoa."
Well,
I
I'm
said,
sort of jealous of you if you're 24 because I'm 44.
yeah, yeah. So I have a fatherly figure here. So he was like, "Whoa," and I'm, "Oh my god!" I didn't know what to say so as not to, demean him or embarrass him at that point. But I can tell you that we need to do so much to bring about the education of this cryptocurrency. We need to help many individuals get to know about it. And I'm very grateful for Binance. I love what Binance is doing in the community. I love what Salinli is doing. I must commend your effort. You guys are doing an incredible job, seriously speaking. It's fantastic what you guys are building. And it's just unfortunate that, the governments haven't really seen this. They haven't really pictured this as how we have. Because something that I help people understand is that money is changing, right? Money is changing. Guys, please share this everywhere. Share the link out. Share this everywhere so that more individuals can join. Screenshot it. Share this everywhere across all groups. Dan, call what is his name and tell him to share this everywhere, okay? So that is it. So nobody knew of this. What was you get? So we need to do more to really educate people on this, on what cryptocurrency is, because frankly speaking, I wrote a book, 12 Reasons Why You Need to Learn About Cryptocurrency. And it's a book I sell for 5,000, but I've been giving it out for people for free. 5,000 naira before Salili starts to ask, 5,000 rand? That's a
Well,
whole
I was
lot of
gonna ask you
money.
how much is 5,000.
I knew you were gonna ask. That's why I had to call that. Something told me you were gonna ask.
Let me work it out here.
No, no, 5,000 naira is not much of it. And that's $12. $12. When you convert that to dollars.
So 12. So that's like 180 rand. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So that is it. So Salili, back to you. Back to you. I'm gonna turn off my camera now so that I'll give you the stage to talk more. So I'll come back intermittently, right? So
Okay,
I'll
so
turn
I'm
off
gonna
my
try and
camera
share
now.
my screen so that, but people need to tell me if they can see it.
Okay, okay.
So if I stop my camera, I don't know how to get this screen on here. Can anybody see what I'm sharing?
What's we can see flowers on the background, like a dark background with flowers. Is that what is showing there?
Dark background with flowers. Can you see the evolution of money?
Amazing. Oh, I'm so happy that you're talking about the evolution of money as well. No, no, no. I can't see that. I can't see that.
Well, let let me just stop sharing and share the entire screen then and see.
Okay.
I see that also, but I honestly think I wouldn't even know how to share it there. I think
The
innocent,
screen.
you need to make that live up on your end.
Um, I need to make. Sorry, I don't get. Don't get your. Yeah, it's just a background of flowers. See, I think this background is actually. So I'm coming back now. I'm coming back. So I'm back. This background is just the background from StreamYard. All right. So guys, I encourage you to please share this everywhere. Share this everywhere possible. Share this everywhere possible so that we can have folks here. Suddenly, maybe you just
Because I'm definitely sharing from this end.
yeah. I don't know why. StreamYard. Maybe you just come back, turn on your camera, and then
Just talk through it.
yeah, maybe we'll just do it that way. So hopefully some other time, when we'll be having you come back. I think we can do this a weekly stuff, maybe a weekly recap of what's happening in the crypto space and all of that. We might not really have the complete idea of what we want to do now, but clarity comes from moving. Clarity
Well, I mean,
comes from
I don't need to run from a presentation. So
Yeah, the reason
I
why I'm
like.
saying this is because of how busy you are, right? We had to talk about this
Mm.
for long before we agreed that yes, let's do this today being Monday. And it was even you who reminded me today. Remember? Right. So
Well, once something's booked by me, it's booked. I don't forget.
yeah. I love
So
that. I
look,
love that.
let's just continue because I think I don't need to be scripted to talk about Bitcoin. I thoroughly enjoy it and I
Amazing. I
think about
love
it
that.
all the time.
I
But
love that.
look, I can only tell you my personal story is that look, I'm a live sound engineer, obviously. So I don't need to tell you that March last year, when they announced lockdowns here in South Africa, that was the end of our industry. It just died. There's
Wow.
no, we still haven't come back fully. I think maybe there's a little bit of events now, but imagine taking a 90%, well, 95% knock on your income just like that by an announcement, because they didn't even wait till the lockdown happened. As soon as the president announced it, that was the end of our industry.
Oh
And
my
if you
god.
go even further back, I used to trade forex,
Oh,
and
amazing.
my frustration with forex is that although I can make a fair amount of money, it means that you need to watch charts all day long.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I've got some forex folks. Like for instance, Chinedu is into forex. I actually started with forex. It was a friend of mine who introduced me to forex. Sorry, I'm cutting you, but I think it makes it interesting that your story bets up my story, and I get to share as well. But I'll soon go off because this is certainly for you. So it was my friend who introduced me to forex, and then I started, studying about it. But I never got to the point of opening a live account, going to the bank, and all of that. It was during the lockdown, and when I traveled from Kaduna, Kaduna is one of the states in Nigeria. When I traveled from Kaduna to Kano, I couldn't, go to the bank to open. Banks can be very far from where the bank the main city is very far from where I stay, and I hated the fact of going to the banks really, because you had to stand under the sun for lengthy hours. Even when you finally get into the bank, you spend lots of hours there. I don't know how it is in South Africa, but here in Nigeria, and especially in Kano, where I was staying at the time, it was incredibly difficult to access banking services. And so crypto made it so easy. In fact, I got into the crypto space just before before the lockdown. Yeah, so when he told me of that and I finally got deeper into the crypto space, I got to realize that I could do all of this from the comfort of my home. I was making lots of money, and I was like, What's the need?" I stopped going to the bank. And in fact, currently in Nigeria, I don't know if you guys have the same in SA. We have what we call POS. Do you guys have the same?
POS.
Yes, POS. So these guys they also carry out banking services, but not the complex banking services that the normal commercial banks will carry out for you. So what they do is you could, withdraw using your ATM card, you could deposit as well, you could make transfers. These are the basic services that these guys render. So you can find them. Just if I step outside the house now before 5 minutes, let's say at most 5 minutes, I'm going to meet a POS. So with that, and what I say is this, what I try to let people understand is this, that even the banks are sending money away. People need to understand this. Most people haven't really seen it in this light. And if they actually do, they'll start getting involved in cryptocurrency, because the banks are actually sending money away. They are saying this money we don't really need it. And people might not really sometimes I even find it difficult to explain this very well to people, because you see the banks in some way they don't really need this money, because keeping it is bad, right? So what they do is they give it away. And so humans, those that are not financially sound, would even go and give them the money, and the banks in Nigeria charge us a lot, like bank charges. The other day I came on my status and I'm like, who is experiencing this? I opened my bank app. I wanted to send someone money, and I opened my bank app and I noticed they deducted 100 naira. For what? For what? I couldn't. So immediately I went to my status, and because I have a very responsive audience on WhatsApp, people started telling me that. And I don't want to mention this bank, but this is the best bank so far in our country. I won't compare that bank to any other bank. In fact, lots of institutions, because I'm very active in church activities, I can tell you most churches prefer to even bank with that bank. But I opened my bank the other day. I'm like, whoa, what's happening? These guys have charged me 100 naira. And well, I said to relate it to my audience, and immediately people started telling me, whoa, they've charged me 900 and something. Wow. And I'm like, oh my God. So with all of this, you understand that, hey, this conventional money, this popular money we use, it's not really, it's really going down the drain. And so I'm going to go leave you, Sir Lily, to please continue what you were trying to share for us.
Well, I mean, I started trading forex in 2007, I think so. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I'm really old for the space. I think I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone here is young, but if it's one thing I learned about banks is that banks need us. We actually don't need them. They are a
True.
business and they provide a service. They are not an essential to your life.
Hmm.
And the minute we think we can't do something because of a bank, I think it's a dehumanizing experience.
I love
Because
this.
um, similarly, and I know I don't want to start revolutions or anything, but we don't actually need a government. Governments need us to exist as governments,
Hmm.
because the only reason
Hmm.
why governments exist is because people who live in a particular area eventually can't do the admin and facilities, so water, power, those things. And where we find ourselves as humans in a democracy, I'm assuming, well, South Africa has a weird democracy in that technically the country has a democracy, but the governing party is actually very communistic in their approach. So the
Wow.
thing is, the only thing that governments want to do is gain more power. They don't necessarily come out and wake up every morning saying, "Hey, I want more power," because it's the same like a business. Every business wants to increase profitability, and a bank is a business and it's selling products to people.
True. True.
So when something like crypto came along, now I think what's happening now is the kickback of most of the regulations and governing parties and those things, and money managers for ignoring it in 2017. They treated it like it was magic internet money, and they thought, "Well, this
Yeah.
fad will die."
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And 2018 proved to maybe became a self-fulfilling prophecy. You see, this thing will never last.
True.
And here we are. I mean, basically, if you had bought Bitcoin 1st of January this year, I think you'd have at least a 5x, because
Yes. Yes. Oh, Bitcoin blue. It's blue. It's blue. It's really
so
blue.
the way I understand Bitcoin is there's more to it than making money, for one, and it's when we understand what money is to begin with,
True.
that
True.
for me, my walk into investing has always been about maintaining buying power over time. That's a big thing, because
Hmm.
and this is why I think Bitcoin often gets compared to gold, is that if you gold has been money or equal to money or holding value for at least 5,000 years
Yeah.
for humans.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But
True.
if you got a coin in the Roman times, wherever that was, I think that was about 2,000 years ago, roughly around there, and what you could buy that day, and you take that same gold coin today, you could probably buy the same amount of things, if not more, a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that maintains your buying power over time. And no,
It retains value. It retains value.
yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do with money is share or transfer value in between something that we agree on. That's the
Yes.
basics of money, I would say.
Yes. Yes.
Now, most of the time, we understand that every year, in our case, 100 rand. I'm not sure. I'm sure that's what 3,000 naira or something like that. If you put that under your bed for a year and you come back later, a year later, take it out there and you want to buy the same things that you bought this year, you can't.
Very true. Very true. And this is a perfect example, Salili. Permit me to add something. When I teach my students, I tell them this. Earlier this year, in fact, I was narrating to you guys the story of Kano, and I'll still say Kano again because why? After in Nigeria, after our university education, you have to undergo what we call a compulsory 1 year service program to the nation, right? So after my education in Kaduna, I was posted to Kano to carry out this program. We call it NYSC, National Youth Service Corps. That is what it's called. So there, fast forward to when after my service program, and then this year, early this year, there is, I don't know, we call this sachet tomato in this country. A sachet tomato was selling at 50 naira per one. 50 naira per one. But do you know, still this same year, this is 2021, this thing I'm telling you, just 10 months ago, 10 months ago, this tomato now sells for 120 naira. That is 2x the ink. It's over. Can you imagine something that was being sold for 50 naira this same year and is now being sold for 120 naira? So it means um if I had 100 naira then, I could buy two. But if I have 100 naira now, I won't even be able to buy one. This goes to tell people how much our currency is losing value per day. And it's it's so it's so uh, it's so mind-blowing that not so many individuals have understood this. It's terrible that not so many individuals have understood to the extent to which our value keeps losing value per day. That is just one product I could list out. So I and my sister we are talking about pens the other day, and she was talking about a man who bought 20-liter pen. I don't know how you get this stuff for painting. Let me say
Yeah.
this wall now for painting the building he was building. So he went to the market and he bought it for 4,000 naira. And he went back after they finished with the pens he bought. The next month, he went back to the market and they were telling him it's now being sold for 20,000, 24,000 naira. That is over
Jeez.
5 times the previous price.
There
Now,
must
the
be a
most
Bitcoin
recent,
in there.
now, this is another example. The most recent one that is happening now, even in my locality, is sachet water. So, sachet water is the water we drink, right? So, we used to buy the bag. The bag contains 20 sachets. We do buy it for 100 naira. But something happened one day. These guys went on strike, and when they came back, they started selling it for 250 naira. From 100 naira
Mm.
per bag to 250 naira per bag. And you're like, wow. In the space of 2 weeks, all of these happened. In the space of 2 weeks. So this goes to, I hope those watching this are really understanding that it is not that you have money. When I teach my students, I tell them this. I say some persons will wake up and realize that the 1 million naira they have is worth nothing. Because think about, as at this point last year, Ethereum was say 150K. It wasn't up to that. Say 120. Let me just say 100. Let me say 120K. But as we speak now, Ethereum is over You can see somebody's even saying the sachet is 350 naira in some places. You can imagine. See the degree to which it shot up. Anyways, that's by the way with my
Mm.
experience. Safili, please let's continue hearing from you.
Well, so the question is, if we know what the problem is, what's the solution to it? And it's very hard to sort of reason. Am I alone yet? Did you? Oh, you're still there. Sorry, no, you muted.
Please.
I don't know. I just thought something happened. Um, so what it comes down to is that if you watch the truly wealthy, and I suppose I'm not saying the aim is to be wealthy, but the aim is to watch what's happening and see how they run things. And the last thing on earth you should be doing is working for money. You should have money working for you. And if we look at the banking system, then that really aids the truly wealthy because they basically give that their funds as collateral for people to borrow and make interest off them. Did we lose you, Innocent? Everybody can hear me, eh? Can people hear me? Oh yes, and I'll just go on. I'm not sure if we lost Innocent, but so for me, understanding that banks and those things exist to make themselves more money, where do we sit in the game of money and life? And everybody knows that you can't get ahead by just having a job. And I'm not saying you must give up your job. I'm saying we need to understand, we need to shift how we look at money and how do we keep buying power over time. And buying power means that I can give an example because I've basically got a card that's attached to an account that swipes Bitcoin. So I can pay with Bitcoin, but with a card. I don't have the card near me here. But I put about $800 in there when I started the account. And I've bought stuff and whatever, and now I still sit with over $1,000 in there. So that's how money is meant to be, or how your value is meant to be kept. Because, and I'm not saying I didn't necessarily plan it that way. Bitcoin just went up during that time, but that is an asset that is like no other one because I think we're still early in the Bitcoin world. It's actually a bank, a Bitcoin bank. I think they call it a Zappo XAPO bank. So they always used to be a Bitcoin wallet, but they created this card. And there are a few cards out there. It's just not always available to everyone. I don't know how I got one. I think I just ended up on the right list somewhere. So I'm gonna say jumping back to how one needs to build one's financial life is that you need to acquire assets and preferably cheaper assets that accumulate better value over time. Now, up until now, that has probably always been property. But I'm sure anyone here will know that property is not easy to firstly attain, and there's a whole lot of things you have to go through to get it, and a lot of taxation around it too. But one thing Bitcoin brought into the table is because people class it as an asset, it's something we can't really see, but it does fulfill everything that money supplies to people. So you can transfer it over borders, which is something that's very difficult for money. And this is why Bitcoin has sort of become, how can I say, or come under fire lately, is because to send $1 billion over a border is not an easy thing and not a cheap thing either. Yet, Bitcoin, you can send probably for about $30, you can send any amount anywhere you want to. And this I don't need to tell you, is obviously a problem to any bank and governments because, um, how can I say? I think firstly they mostly ignored it, and now it's become this thing that they can't ignore and can't contain anymore. Because one thing that I know that exists in networks, and this is not just a computer network, in networks of people, is that once once enough people are in that network, there's what they call critical mass, and then you can't go back. So what we have discovered over time now, and I think Bitcoin was released 2009, so we're probably 11, 12 years into it, is that people want to be able to do that. They want to be able to transact with each other without a third party. They want to be able to control their own bank, so to say, because Bitcoin is a self-sustaining. It doesn't need any humans. It doesn't need any bank. It doesn't need any stamp of approval to say that these things are legitimate. And it's got extremely high security. In fact, probably the best security around any network that exists via mining. But what does that mean to a bank? It means that their whole business model starts to fall around. And banks are sort of in relation to governments anyway. It also stands to fight against that power. It doesn't necessarily come out fighting with guns and stuff like that, but when people start being able to transact without control, that seems to be a problem with the people that have control. But and now we have this thing where China's banned it, but we all know why China's banned it, because they don't like lack of control, and they released their own digital currency. And we need to create a separation of what cryptocurrencies are and what digital currencies are, because what keeps Bitcoin and a crypto is that we use cryptography in order to secure the network and basically keep Bitcoin pure, if you want to put it that way, and free from human control. Whereas a digital currency is a very different animal, and that is fully controlled by whatever government, the central bank that issues it. So they will say, obviously, that Bitcoin stands to destabilize the financial markets. And I can't see how that happens now if we look at something like El Salvador, because El Salvador has basically taken Bitcoin in as a legal tender, and they don't necessarily deal with Bitcoin on the ground. They use Lightning Network to be able to make the transactions fast and sort of equatable to like a credit card thing. So, well, when Bitcoin dropped the other day, I remember clearly the president of El Salvador basically bought the dip. So they made about 4 million on that dollars because he bought the dip. I'm seeing, wow, I can see the chats on the screen now. And I know I'm jumping a lot here, so I tend to do that when I don't have a presentation guiding me. But I think at the end of the day, what Bitcoin means is that you actually own something. And up until now, that has not been possible for a human. And we're talking about across history, across um, time. Yeah, I don't think there's been a time in history where humans, and I'm talking about the average human, not in control, can actually own something. Like when you have Bitcoin in a wallet with a key, that there is no one else on earth that can move that other than you. You own that. Even property you can't really own because it's still inside a country. So you may have the right to use it and own it, but if governments decided to make your property illegal, well, then what can you do? So, and I'm not sure if you guys know, but about a month or two back, maybe 2 months, they had massive riots here, looting and stuff like that. And there people start to realize how how simple it is to lose everything that you've worked for.
Mm.
Because even the house that you own, it can have no value if people bomb everything around you. If people take
Yeah, that's
everything
true.
away, then what does that mean? So I think that as bad as that was, it was probably one of the better things to get people into Bitcoin, because if your value is sitting on a blockchain in a wallet that you control, it cannot be destroyed. It can never be
Yeah,
destroyed.
yeah. And maybe next time we'll discuss blockchain extensively. Maybe some other time we'll discuss blockchain extensively. What do you think?
We can. Look, it's obviously a topic that I love to talk about. And,
Amazing, amazing,
mm,
amazing. So, guys, if you are still here, please leave a comment. Leave a comment in the comment section so that we will know that you are still here. So, sorry, guys, sorry. I have a niece. My niece just walked into my room. She can be so funny. And then, in trying to curtail her, network started misbehaving. But thanks to God, I'm back. Thank you, Salili, for keeping
mm.
our audience glued with value. All right, so Ace is still
I
here.
hope
No
it was
control at
valuable.
all. Yeah. Great. All right. So Salinli, sorry, please continue.
Well, look, I do realize at the same time that Bitcoin and the crypto world is very complex. It's not always easy to engage from the outside in. But
Yeah.
the thing is, the monetary system isn't simple either. In fact, it's so complex, even the economists and everybody can't really fully understand everything, because everything's a moving part. Because how do we say what the value of something is? How do we know what the value of the dollar is? We have to compare it against something all the time.
True.
Even Bitcoin, what is the value of it? I mean, one Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin. But if you want to use it to buy something, well, then we have to compare it to what the price is of something. And unfortunately for us, that is the dollar. So we don't know what the future holds. There could be a time when everything gets priced in Bitcoin. But my thing is that Bitcoin isn't always going to be freely available for everybody to buy. So
Mm,
I would say that 5 years ago, maybe it was questionable whether Bitcoin would survive, but clearly the will of the community and the base of people that use it keep it in existence, and there's a will for it to continue. And
yeah.
those things make things valuable. It's like cars would have died if nobody wanted to use it.
Truly,
But because
truly.
people found a reason to use it, and this is what we settled with as people who are inside crypto, is that nobody here thinks Bitcoin is a joke. But a lot of other people think it is it's this thing that, people make money with or don't make money with. But the real value of Bitcoin is that you can hold value. It will hold that value to the future. It will probably increase your buying power over time, more so than any fiat currency. And obviously, you will fall down into the rabbit hole of every other token and stuff in crypto. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's still early days, I think, because it's still very hard for people to get into it, and that's why I think we're still early. Nobody questions money, paper money being something, and a credit card or something like that. And when we get to that point, then I'd say it's not so hard. And I think Bitcoin will go quicker than that, because 1 year in crypto is a long time.
Sure.
Feels like
Sure.
10 years in normal years, but. I mean, I'm still learning a whole lot, and there's a whole lot of things that there's just so much in it.
Yeah. So much. You see, for instance, I was reading through Dots the other day. I made a publication on that. I would encourage guys to, check Facebook, check the Money Academy, and probably LinkedIn as well. But I'm going to be making a post this evening after this live stream about rain. And you see that one thing I try to help people understand is all these cryptocurrencies we see are projects. People need to see it that way. these things are project, they are designed to solve problems in the society, right? So when you look at Ethereum, for instance, you see what Ethereum is building. You see that Ethereum is building something very massive. Excuse me. With them coming up with Ethereum is an ecosystem. But excuse me, when you look at Bitcoin, you see that Bitcoin was made to store value. Ethereum is more of an ecosystem that powers. It's a it's an immense blockchain, and we saw what Binance did. Binance did that with
Did we lose you again? Yeah, I think we lost Innocent there, but maybe network trouble. I think he was going to say Binance Smart Chain. Well, look, there are a lot of networks that have come up. One of the most popular ones now is Solana and Avalanche. And, all of these things were possible because Bitcoin came here to begin with. So, look, I'm not going to say this thing's better than Bitcoin. I think there's things that does certain things better than Bitcoin. And the whole DeFi space, the decentralized finance, is quite huge. And I'm not sure everybody knows about the NFT stuff also. It's another area that is just, honestly, I'm starting to get into it to see what it's about. But it certainly is life changing in terms of how things have changed, of how we share value and what we consider important. And there clearly is a lot of money in crypto, in the people that have been early and what they're willing to spend their things on. And the more, you know, the boring side, the regulation side of things tries to seek control, that they soon will realize that they can't really, because at the end of the day, you can't tell people who have freedom of movement and choice. Then if you're running a private wallet and you moving funds between things that are just smart contracts, how do you have to obey anybody else? And therefore, I sort of took a look at it, and I mean, even with the US people trying to put regulation into the DeFi space, you'd have to be able to tell people what to do, and they would have to do it, which means you would have to circumvent freedom and stuff like that. And there's a lot of that, you know, therefore people use scare tactics because they rather intimidate people to obey something rather than clamp down on the freedom of something, because people eventually will have a problem. So look, the NFT space is obviously working also on the fact of scarcity. So if there's a limited amount of things, and look, in a world of 7-8 billion people, 10,000 images of something is fairly rare. It was never going to be repeated. So, and obviously, if Shaq's going to do one, then I honestly think he's got an audience already. And this, it can change artists' lives also, because they really didn't need to struggle in the lockdown period, because there's so many online avenues that they could have used. And with the power of NFTs, there's a lot that can happen. I mean, I don't personally care to run after everything, but things that do hold value to me, I would like to own. A BTC and NFT. I don't think I've heard of that. Is the one. You mean the NFT that contains Bitcoin? Honestly, I think that existed a while ago. There used to be these puzzles, and if you figured out the puzzle, you could win the, well, claim the Bitcoin in there because the puzzle would be you working out the private key. I'm not sure if people ever want it, but I mean, obviously, if there's one Bitcoin in there, that's quite a lot. So I think that was the precursor to what NFTs are today. And obviously, you get the Bitcoin maximalists who just believe everything should be Bitcoin and nothing else. I don't think I sit in that camp alone, but because there's just so many tokens, I think we're nearing about 10,000 tokens, and I see the notifications fly in that pretty much there's tokens out every day, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who's buying all these things, but it certainly does exist. And obviously, everybody's want to make huge amounts of money, but I think it all starts with Bitcoin. Is that if you just buy a little when you can, if it's possible, at some point you'll be somewhere. And with the increase of Bitcoin over time, you obviously win. And therefore, if I could just sort of end on the in order to change your financial life, you kind of have to deal, not kind of, you have to basically either get into assets or own shares in something that will increase over time. And that means you need to be early in something. And that has always been kept away from the normal person because I don't know about Nigeria, but in our country, if you want to buy into a company, there's criteria placed on a person that is able to do that. So you can only buy established companies, but new companies, they say, look, you must be a sophisticated investor. And I'm sure if you see IDOs, so we bought into this IDO on BSC Pad. I think it's called AstroSwap. I did a 240x within a day.
Wow.
So,
Lily, could you give us could you tell us how much you made approximately?
well, I mean, I can say we to buy the tokens I bought for $46. But look, there's criteria in the launch pads to be able to get to the tiers. You need to have a certain amount of funds,
Yeah.
locked up tokens. But that
Yeah.
$46, then when it launched, I sold the first allocation for $1,020.
Wow. That's massive.
So, and look, it's also that's the thing. It's not in the average person's hands always. And look, I mean, Shiba Inu.
Yeah.
Now I knew about it, and I have a little bit here and there. But I mean, basically, if you had bought $1,000 last year sometime, that would equal to $240 million now. So, and look, there's a clear example of when enough people get involved and believe in something, they make it happen. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's just there's so many thousands of coins, it's going to do nothing. But when a group of people get around it, and I don't think people realize the power of the collective of people.
Yeah. A
Because
community.
the more people get into crypto, and let's say it's via Bitcoin, eventually that can overthrow anything else. Even
That's
if
true.
people are told not, and if you look at history, when people are told not to do something, eventually they fight back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, it's heading to
That's
an
true.
hour.
That's true. So, Salili, thank you so much for sharing with us value and knowledge. We are almost going into this is 49 minutes now. And I'm sorry guys, my network have been kicking me out intermittently. Distractions from my homies here and all of that. But I'm really glad we got to do this. This is the first time, and hopefully let's see, we might, find time to do this. Just come out around, discuss here live on YouTube, and probably stream across YouTube, the Money Academy, and on Facebook as well. And we'll see how beautiful that can be. Let's just see how we can work out this. This is the first. It's not really, as beautiful as we'd want it, but hey, come on, right? Bitcoin started that way, and people never really envisaged it to be what it is today, right? And that is how good things start. That is how good things start, right? So
Well,
Salili Ace is saying he really appreciates your insight and wisdom, and he hopes to see you again. So we hope to see you again in this
mm,
community. So we keep growing, we keep bringing out, good, credible information. So Salili, I want to thank you for coming. So we'll discuss at the back end, okay, and we'll see how we can, maybe do this more often. So, that being said, so let's just say a word of prayer and then we close for tonight. So, thank you, Father, for today. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for helping us to learn. Give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Preserve and protect us, Lord, and help us to love you always in Jesus' name. Amen.
amen.
All right. So, thank you, Celine Lee. Good
So we
night.
will
So,
we will
let's.
try and do it weekly, eh?
Awesome. So we'll fix a day and we'll see how we can do this, come around, discuss, educate people for free, let them learn because this is about money. It's about money. Without money, one cannot do anything. And it's not just going to cover crypto because I think crypto is like the future, right? Although the future is now. The future is now, but what we would need to get people from, you know, it's not just telling them about the future. You need to take them from the past, help them understand where they are now, and then position them, help them see what DeFi is, what NFTs are, what you know crypto itself, help them to understand the different crypto assets and all of these. So thanks for the offer to do this weekly. Oh, yeah, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. So it's not just about, you know, it's not just about, you need to see this as a wealth creation too. You need to see this as a wealth creation too, because just like Salili spoke about, imagine putting in um $46 and you made $1,000 plus, right? Imagine putting in $1,000 in Shiba Inu and making over 200 million, right? So this is it, but you need to also understand that it's a long-term mentality. One thing I tell my students is this, and you can really hear Safili. He talked about him being a sound engineer. He talked about him being into forex for the past how many years, right? So he's garnered experience, he's garnered knowledge. So you don't just want to go into this headlong. What you want to do, you want to learn firstly, right? Okay, guys. So we'll draw the curtain here. It's been amazing with you guys. Shiba has been doing well, really. Shiba has been doing well. After this, the first thing I'll go check is Shiba before I do any other thing. All right, guys. So, Salili, thank you for coming. So much love from all of us at Nigeria. So, hopefully, next time we're gonna have both South African audience and Nigerian audience, and we'll try to stream across different platforms. So, what we'll do, we'll fix a day. If Monday or Wednesday, we'll see which day will be most convenient for the both of us, and
Monday
we'll see
works
how we
for
can.
me.
Monday works for you. All right, then.
Mm.
So cool, cool. All right, guys. So let's draw the curtain here. So good night, everyone.
Okay.